And we're live. We are live. Yay. Hi. I am here with Sophie Dumetz. I am so excited that I get to interview her today here live. And we're going to be talking about messaging because it's just up, and I've been getting a lot of questions about, what does it even mean to create a message, and how do you create one that really expresses what you're all about, and how do you really feel confident in what it is that you're expressing? Not just coming up with the words, that's a big part of it, but how do you feel connected to it in a way that you can deliver that message, whether it's verbally or in copy, whatever it is, in a way that you just feel connected to it. And yes, this is who I am. And you can really express it with that kind of confidence. Let me tell you a little bit about Sophie. I'm going to just speak from my personal experience, which is, we met through a different group, and we both had some of the same feelings about communication and about confidence and about entrepreneurs owning their voice and really developing it. And so we just came together with a mutual passion, for lack of a better word. And I was fascinated by her, and we just started networking together and talking together and sharing ideas together. And then we were in a mastermind together. So, and I just have incredible respect and admiration for her. I love what she's all about and what she really shares in terms of messaging, but even more than that, and about really coming in to what she calls your change maker self. The name of her business is She's a Change Maker. And that kind of just says it all. She's really working with people that know they want to make a change in the world, that their work is about more than just bringing in bucks. It's to actually make a movement, to take something from here to here that's not just themselves. So, and it's to impact other people in a profound way. And these are the people that she really is great at helping. Because in order to do that, you got to own your voice and you got to be visible. And she has a variety of ways of helping you do that. She's also just releasing, I believe, is it next week? She's a Change Maker.
That's right. On the 14th is my official launch date for the She's a Change Maker show, which features fantastic entrepreneurs. Nancy, you're going to be on there. But women entrepreneurs who really are truly visionary, and it's about voicing your own change. So a big focus is about how to re-script your story and actually own it in such a way that you've become not just the person who has the message, but the messenger who is meant to share it. So it's really, I'm bringing in women who have really stepped into being their own change and really getting behind the story about how did they re-script their reality, one choice, one moment at a time.
Fantastic. That's perfect. Yeah. So should we jump in?
Jump in.
And if any of you have questions, you can write them in the comment section, and they will magically appear. We'll be able to see it. And or if you have any issues with hearing us or anything, just please put something in the comment section and zap it off to us so we know. We'd love to create a discussion here, and we want to make sure that any questions, concerns, comments, anything that you have, we want to include. So,
also, I will add, whether you're catching this live or on the replay, do pop the comments in and tag either Nancy or I, and we'll be more than happy to address those. And even if we need to pop on a second live to answer the question, we can schedule that in. For those of you who don't know me, my Facebook page is She's a Change Maker, all in one word. So you can find some of my content there. And that's also, you can tag me with my name. There's not so many Sophie Dumetzes in the world, too, on Facebook, though. So just make sure the one you tag looks like me. So,
really? There's two?
I know. I was shocked, too. But
that's amazing.
Yeah, I'd love to just dive in, Nancy, too, because we're talking about message, and there's this whole thing around what is your message and what are the words you need to speak. And you kind of nailed it, saying, it's not just about the words you need to speak, but it's about feeling those words. And really the first thing is taking ownership to the fact that you are a powerful messenger. You have a voice that matters. And the first person who needs to hear it, like in order for you to show up for your world in a way that is powerful, meaningful, inspiring, you have to show up that way for you. Like, number one priority.
So can you say more about that? It's like, what does that entail, really showing up for yourself and actually having a voice for yourself?
First of all, it starts with making that choice that you're going to hear your own voice in whatever way you need. I actually have on the she'sachangemaker.com site, I have a free training that teaches women how to use specifically only your voice. You don't even need pen and paper to start to reframe your story and rescript your reality. But what I mean by that is you start to actually speak the change you want to see in your own world. And it really means, people talk about the power of positive psychology, the power of positive language. I think there's a reframe here. It's about using your words constructively to help you build. So not just positively, but constructively to help you build who you are intending to be. And from that place, when you can hear the person you're meant to be in your life, not, who you're meant to be today, but just in your whole life, you're the visionary, you're the change maker. When you start to speak as this person, suddenly messages and words will show up for you that were in you all this time. You just hadn't let them out yet. So it's actually really moving into that state of being the change maker. So it's almost like that's where you start. It is where you start. It's like, freedom starts with the choice to be free. Being a change maker and being a visionary starts with the choice of owning the fact that's who you are. And freeing yourself, liberating yourself from any labels or shoulds and coulds or whatever things that are not you, and simply saying, like, you know what, I know who I am and who I'm here to be in this lifetime, and I'm going to start to behave like this person. I'm going to start to think like this person. And so if the story of drama shows up, like, well, I don't know what to say, and I don't know who's going to hear it, and I don't know, blah, 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 if that shows up, it's almost saying, like, you know what, shred this story. That story doesn't work for me. I want to choose something that is more constructive instead. So the story that tells us that we can't even have a voice because we don't know what to say, or that who's going to listen to this, or haven't I heard this message before, or that all has to just go like, yeah. Yeah, and in that comparisonitis online, there's also an inner comparisonitis. Like, people will compare themselves to who they've been. But yeah, like, is that helpful? And that's kind of the first step of messaging and figuring out what is the overarching thing I want to say to the world, to the people whose life I meant to change, the thing that's going to resonate with them. Well, if you're spending half your time questioning that your words are mattering to you in this moment, it's going to be hard to hear the clear message and the clear voice. Yeah. So it really has to start with moment by moment, choice by choice, deciding I am no longer married to those old stories, and I'm willing to let them go. And I'm willing to start to hold the pen on my new reality, my new message, my new life, the thing I really, really, really want, and start to cook it. It's like you have ingredients in your life, and you have to become the master chef and go into your kitchen and pull them out and make the cordon bleu version of your business. And sometimes that means making a big mess and not really knowing how much of what, but you still go in the kitchen and you do it. So, yeah. Make a mess and clean it up later. Well, in terms of, and how, the thing that always comes up is like, what is a message? It's like, we talk about it all the time. Like, you have to have a message. It has to be a clear message, it has to be, but do you have a definition of what a message is? I've thought about this because we chatted offline, and it's a feeling for me that you have just a clear sense of, what you want to say, who you want to say it to, in a way that is going to resonate with both of you, the person who needs to hear it, and it feels true for you too. Perfect. Yeah. Because I was thinking that too. I was thinking, like, it's like there's the elements that we think of in a message, which is like expressing what it is that you do to who you do, who you do it with, and doing it in a way, your why, what you stand for and why you stand for it, all of that. But then there's being able to do that. That's kind of like the what, what it is that you have to say.
what is it that you have to say? What is it that you want to tell the world? What is it that you want to share? But then there's the how you say it, which is where I think a lot of people get hung up, which is like, oh, I don't know. I don't know what words to use, or I wrote this, but it doesn't really mirror what I'm feeling. You know, I'm feeling this. I look at this and I go like, bah. So it's kind of those two. It's like, it's the what, it's the feeling, it's the, and then there's like how you express it. It's like the words that you use to express it. And how you use it in a way, like what you were saying, it's that beautiful combination of that you're expressing it in a way that feels true and authentic to you, in a way that you can get behind it. I just use that feels good to you. I mean, we know when it doesn't feel good.
Ultimately, a powerful message will create a sense of what I'll call core resonance for both people.
Yeah, that's a beautiful term. That's a beautiful term.
Yeah.
Right.
It is. And it really is. Like once you found your message, it will show up. It will be said in different ways. It will be written in different ways. But the truth of it is it's always going to resonate deeply inside the messenger and the person who receives the message. That's like where really you get to fall in love with each other.
Yeah, that's perfect. I love that. So do you have any tips on how someone can start crafting that message? You know, other than what you've just already told us, is there the next step that you would lead someone to in terms of coming up with a message that can have that core resonance?
Yeah, I mean, the idea, who you're speaking to is important. And so definitely the first step would be to revisit that and be like, am I still speaking to the right audience? And ask yourself, like, whose life do I really feel like I'm meant to change? You know, if you could choose one person whose life you get to change in the next day, in the next week, like who would you choose really? You feel confident you can help them and you're so motivated to go and help them. So it's, again, this matter of powerfully choosing. So wherever you are with your ideal client, I would say just revisit that and just check, like, does this still really create the sense of core resonance? Like, absolutely, hell fucking yes, I am so into helping this person. And if you're like, yes, I'm in love with helping this person, I can't wait to help them. If you feel that stoked about it, okay, you've got this basic foundation. Then, you know, you want to envision sort of, where do you see them being able to go? Like, what are the possibilities you see for them? So those are the solutions you offer, the transformation your work will offer. And you, in resonating with where they are and the work that you offer and where they can go, you kind of think, well, what do they need to hear to get this? To get the fact that there's a journey and these are the steps. So what do they need to hear? So it's really, you want to communicate with them. And I think one of the blocks to actually having a clear message most of the time is people really think about how I want to say it. It has nothing to do with how you want to say it. Your words are magical and beautiful, but it's how do people need to receive it?
Ah, that's so important. That's so important. I'm glad you said that.
Nailed it.
But, you know, and how you want to say it is important too, because you want it to be in your own voice. But if no one can hear it, if it's like, you know, I mean, the idea of a message is to have that core resonance, is that it reaches somebody, is that the people that, you know, want to hear it, need to hear it, can actually understand it and get excited by it. So it's like, you know, that's kind of the magic too. It's kind of like there is kind of this wonderful balance and magic of like, how do you say it in your own way and that it feels like it's in your own voice, yet you're also saying it, writing it, sharing it in a way that people immediately go, oh, yep, that's me, you know, and I'm excited about that. And that's, I want more of that, you know? So, and that's, I think you know, for me, where copywriting comes in, and for knowing, you know, that's really the art and science of copywriting, is that it's like writing your message in a way that does have an immediate impact and connection, or that core resonance. I love that core resonance in the people that you are excited about serving.
Exactly. And that's where, you know, working with an amazing copywriter, they're going to help you step into more clarity. And, you know, people get hung up, I think, about the way words have to be in certain, you know, phrased this way or this way for it to work. But that's not actually the foundational step. The foundational step is really ensuring it truly, truly resonates with what you're here to do. It's also important not to only look at the past, but really look at what you're here to build. You know, if I'm going to move into a new house, I'm not going to take my blueprint from my old house and go like, well, I want it to be exactly like the old house, but new. Like, that's just not going to work, right? You have to have a sense of where you've come from and where you want to go, and how you want to grow and expand into things, and sort of and play with it. So there's a sense of fluidity. Yeah. Now, the other thing I wanted to say about finding the right words and the core resonance, and the communication, because the message is ultimately meant to connect and communicate with the person. And you know, some people, we say, what is your message going to say? And most people never even say their own message. They just write it initially. So it's important to start to say it. And even, yes, using Facebook Live as a way to say it and communicating with people, having you say it while you're with clients, yes, definitely record, take notes. You might have really great nuggets here, but really giving yourself the permission to actually give yourself your own message, like be your own voice of change. Essentially, that's the first step, because if the words really resonate with you, if you get stoked and inspired and motivating, hearing yourself practicing your next feature interview or your next talk or whatever, and you're just like talking and you feel your body suddenly is like excited, chances are your ideal client will also resonate with those words, with that energy, with that vibe. But you know, hear yourself out first. Yeah. Why rob yourself of your own words?
And what you're talking about too is like the energy behind those words. I mean, that's what happens when you're actually verbalizing them, and actually what will come through in your written words too, if you're connected to it. And people get that. It's kind of like the words are important, but the energy behind the words is equally important. So it's kind of like, it's getting all of those things like lined up. And it comes back to what you talked about before, which is the beingness of it, that energy will be there and come through if you're in the beingness of what it is that you're about, and what it is that you have to say now, because it's always changing, right? What I love about you saying about the client and getting really clear about that is like, I'm doing that again. It's like, I'm always doing that, because that's always changing as well. It's like, who am I really excited about serving now? And it's not the same as it was 6 months ago even. And I think our message changes maybe, well, it can, you know, as rapidly. It's evolving with us because it does come from the beingness of who we are, and the beingness of who we are is always evolving and changing as well. So I think, you know, that's the good news and the bad news. I mean, some people think, oh, I just want a message and stick with it, and good, I don't have to do that anymore. That's like done. There's my message, there's my ideal client, and now let's move on. But you'll always be called to the next thing, And I think once you kind of accept that and know it's always going to be an evolution, you can it actually makes it easier, because then you don't have to go like, this has to be the ultimate thing that represents me. These words are it, because those words aren't it. I mean, they are for today.
Right.
You'll be saying something else tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you evolve and your clients evolve for sure, but there's still this overarching core resonance, core message that won't change. Like in my case, it's around really being your own change, you're a change maker, which is why, you know, the free training I have on my site is called Be Your Own Voice of Change, and teaches people how to specifically speak in a constructive fashion, because it's a foundational element of finding who you are. But it's kind of like having the name on a recipe book, and there's a whole bunch of recipes inside of, you know, I'm hungry for this, I'm hungry for that. So you're talking to the same person in different ways, and you're going to have in messaging an overarching message, ideally, especially for visionary leader type people. There's going to be an overarching core thing you want to take a stand for. And then there's going to be multiple ways that you meet your clients. So they're going to be at the point where they're frustrated that their visibility hasn't really fully paid off yet. They're going to be undecided about what offer is going on next. So there's going to be specific problems that happen over time that are sort of legs and parts. They're part of the recipe of your message, but they're not necessarily the message. And I think people get hung up looking at problem one, oh, that's my message. Problem two, that's my message. It's like, no, your message needs to be sort of this container of the multiple ways that your message unfolds and expands, and, you know, that your clients actually live them.
Yeah, thank you for that, because that helps define message as well. I mean, you say kind of the container. I kind of see it like as the kind of the foundation, for lack of a better word, which is like,
I see it like an umbrella. So you have the umbrella.
The foundation, the umbrella, and the container.
Yeah. And now we have a house. Yeah.
And now we have a house. Now we have a fortress. Yeah, because depending on what it is that's going on with your clients, it's always going to have that very. And you're kind of almost talking about offers. It's like, well, they've got this problem, so I can help them in this way. But it's all under that umbrella of the larger way that you're here to serve, or the larger message that you're here to give. You know, that does encompass all of those. So I want to is there any other concrete ways people can start looking at their message or developing it in a way that will feel good to them and also resonate with their ideal clients? Any tips around that at all?
Yeah, you know what? One fun way is to do a role play exercise. And you can do that with yourself or with a partner, where one person is pretending to be the ideal client. If you do it with yourself, you know, you have to have a good active, fertile imagination and really pretend that you're the ideal client. But with a partner, so let's say, you know, Nancy, you're pretending to be my ideal client, then I would ask you the kind of questions that I'm curious about, and you sort of embody the client and talk as if they're them. Most people have far more intuition around this than they believe, but it can be a fun way to cut down on the time it takes to get clear. And in about half an hour, you can ask them like what's going on right now? What's the impact? What do you want? So things to do with where they are and where they want to go, and just listen to the words that get spoken. I actually think it might work best if, let's say, you, Nancy, would ask me questions about my ideal client. I probably would have a best sense of what they would say. So it's really playing pretend, like you want to get back into being 8. And, you know, they say in marketing, you want to speak as if you're talking to an 8-year-old. So really, like, pretend you're 8 again, role play, and start to voice things out loud. Again, voicing it first is going to be really powerful. People say in copy, you want to write it like you speak it. So why not speak it first and then write it?
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
That's really good. I love that. I've done it really with helping people by just saying, doing pretend journal entries. I love that one, because it's like, you know, pretend you're your ideal client and you just woke up at 2 a.m. and you can't go back to sleep because you've got what going on in your head. And just write from their point of view. And it's the same thing that you're talking about. It's like the real core issues come up, because you kind of start with oh, this is happening, I can't say because of this, but then as it keeps going, it gets down to those, like, the things that we only admit to our journal, that we don't even say to our spouse even, that we're afraid of or concerned about or even excited about. Like, I can't even talk about it, you know. But I like the interview is good. I like that of getting it out and getting it in one's voice and out of one's mouth. That's a really great way to do it too.
Yeah, definitely. And in 30, if you set a timer for like about 30 minutes max, you'll be absolutely shocked at the amount of content that you can receive. Like, just really, really, really shocked at the amount of content you can create in terms of what are they going through, what are the signs, symptoms, the solutions that are possible for them. You're going to have phrases that come out of you. You'll be like, what? This was in me? God, it's so freaking cool. So yeah. I'm a big fan of speaking it first and making it fun. Fun is a really big aspect of it. Like, you know, I could sit here and hunch down on my chair, put on my glasses and be like, okay, I'm going to write my message. But that's not the vibe I want for my clients to receive when they read my copy. So if I'm becoming this, like, what is my client going to receive when they read it? They're going to be like, this is really damn fucking serious. Like, I don't want to read this stuff. Like, you know, they're going to get this vibe of, this is big work. No, they want to feel the sense of, I get you and I know where you want to go and let's get there. And so that's how I need to get myself psyched up before I even sit down to write a message. And I would say too, like, working with clients, when I hear where they're at, it's like, okay, I meet them where they're feeling frustrated, but then we get back to, like, where do you want to go? How do you want to feel? How do you want your people to feel? And honestly, it's that place of feeling it first. When you get into that step into the feeling of who you want to be and where you're going to go, the words will come. And trust that the words are there.
And I feel that that's the way you're getting that through that process is how the words are coming. But you say, well, you know, who's it you want to serve, or pretending you're your ideal client, and like, what is it that's going on? Where is it that you want to go? What's in your way right now? And though that too gives you the ingredients to go in the kitchen and whip up something, you know, in terms of a message, or the elements of the message. Because there's, you know, like anything, you can add chocolate chips or you can add peanuts or whatever, depending on the situation. The same can also be true of the exact words that you use. I mean, in the moment, like you were saying, it's like when it's coming out of you, it's going to come out of you a different way one day or another, depending on how you're feeling or just what's in the ether even. Yeah. But I love what you're saying about that, because that starts giving you the concrete elements. So it's like you do it from that place of being, and then you, as you're speaking it, as you're asking these questions, as you're answering questions, you're getting concrete language, concrete yet fluid language. Yeah.
Yeah, and the one extra little thing I want to highlight here is when you're speaking in the voice of an ideal client and really talking about where they are, you really also want to talk about where they want to go. You want to talk about their own desires and dreams, because that's their own transformational journey. Like, you have a sense of what it is for them. Maybe their perception of what it's going to be will be a little different, but speaking to the journey that's ahead is so exciting. I mean, who here has gone on a trip, said, I'm going to go to Europe? And then there's like, oh, maybe we can go to Paris, and then we can do this, and we can do that. Like, it just bubbles up this awesome energy. And there's going to be parts of your copy that will matter in that segment of the ideal client work, which is not always completed properly when people do this part of the work.
Yeah, it's essential. I mean, it's essential in copy. It's essential in your messaging that piece. I mean, I call it the possibilities. You know, it's like, you have to know what those possibilities are. Like you're saying, what is it that they really want? You know, where is it that they want to go, given their situation now? And it's kind of like also what you're saying. It's like to be able to use their own words that are in your. Let me make that clear. It's like the words that your ideal client uses to describe that. So, you know, that's really important, because those are the words that are going on in their head. They're saying, oh, if only, or it would be so cool if, or like where I want to go is, you know, and those words that come out of them, which is the role playing is really fun for that. That's the part of your message and that you want to use when you're talking about where is it they want to go, and to be talking about where they can go and what's possible. You're here, but this is possible.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, the other thing that if you should really ask some real people, I mean, that's probably the best thing, is actually ask some real people, have real conversations with people, not with, you know, you're not trying to get them to become your client necessarily. Just be curious, like be like the investigative reporter, you know, be like Barbara Walters on 20 and just like ask them all the questions you want to know about, like, oh, that's interesting. And you know, you're feeling this and where you want to go and blah, 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 you know, so. Yeah. And like, I use media interviews as a way to get people clear. I work with people to get ready for a media interview to get them clear, because it's a playful way to work towards your goal of clarity and, you know, resonance and reach. But the process of becoming clear for media interviews, whether it's TV or radio, will put you in that situation where you have to speak the words so that they really, really land and resonate with everyone involved, the host, the ideal client, and definitely you and where you want to go.
But I hear you saying that you actually use the whole media interview as a playful way, as almost like as a tool to get to those words, I love that. That's cool.
Because I know ultimately all entrepreneurs who feel like leaders and visionaries, and thank you, by the way, they want eventually to get on media. They want to get on a podcast. They want to do more summits. They want to, you know, ultimately sit on Oprah's couch. Like, really, I would say everybody I've worked with dreams of sitting on Oprah's couch. I dream that too. I haven't been there yet, but I've hosted a TV show and I've been on talk shows, so I know what it's like to be, you know, behind the camera. I mean, in front of the camera, I guess, but. So why not work towards achieving that goal and being ready for that goal, to also get the person internally ready and with a clarity and confidence around the words they speak and how they speak it, so that when the opportunity calls, you're just like, absolutely, I'm totally ready. There's no sense of stress. There's no rush. Like it's just one of the dominoes. So gaming yourself to be more clear is a really fun way to do business, I have to say.
I know it's like, and I think you brought up a good point. We've got to kind of wrap up, but the process actually of doing this gets to be fun. I mean, it's not, sometimes it can feel so overwhelming, you know, if you don't feel like you have the words or you're not clear, you know, clarity can create so much lack of clarity can create so much overwhelm, but it's actually in the play and getting in there and splashing around and doing the interview or writing something just for the fun of it, that's where all the yummy stuff is. And it does get to be fun. It doesn't have to be this arduous task. In fact, it shouldn't be. Like you were saying, you know, that's not going to do it. That just isn't going to, I mean, you'll get something, but it's not going to be something that you're really going to love. And, you know, that core resonance again, because the energy will be all funky, just won't be there. So is there anything else you want to share? And I want you to share about how people can take the next step and maybe get on the, you know, either listen to the She's a Changemaker show or get what you've got going on.
I would love for people to check out the Be Your Own Voice of Change free training, which is at she'sachangemaker.com. It's a 20-minute free training where I teach basically 3 visibility hacks, like 3 visibility methods to help you see yourself and hear your own voice and help you step into that version of you who's the true messenger, who has that core message, who can create that core resonance. So it's really fun training. And then really, once you go through the training, it only takes about 5 minutes a day to really, really hack yourself into being clear and confident about who you're here to do and get into the action of things. So that's where I would direct people. My own site, SophieDumetz.com, is where I have a few more other ways of working with people. But, you know, what's coming up for me now is working with women in the context of the She's a Changemaker Sistermind, and there's a spotlight retreat, and it's all building up to being fully ready to be featured on media. So we're actually building a TV show at the retreat. You're getting your branded photography, and my TV producer, like, not only is he just, you know, fun to hang out with and look at, I would just say, and the photographer too. I have 2 really great photographers and videographers. He's worked with really phenomenal people, you know, like Nicolas Cage, Wesley Snipes. He filmed a royal couple recently, you know, so he's a real deal. So I'm bringing pros to get there, and then the journey of being clear happens before the retreat, where we work both in groups and one-on-one, and then afterwards we look at how do you build the reach, like how do you take the content that you've created and give it legs, because we create so much content, but then how much of it actually reaches the people we want, you know? So that's part of the journey. And
we'll post those links too in the comments. So
the registration for that are not open yet, but I'll post. I have a wait list open, so I'll post the comments below. It's that'll be the easiest. But first step, go to she'sachangemaker.com. I would say that'd be the best place to start. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for doing this. Has been so great. And I just so appreciate your perspective and your insight and around all of this. It's lovely. And you have a beautiful way of explaining it and getting it so people can understand it. So thank you so much. And thank all the rest of you who were here. And again, if you have any questions or comments, just put them underneath this replay when it's a replay. And either Anne-Sophie or I'll get back to her. Maybe both of us will just bombard you. So
yeah, thank you so much for having me, Nancy. It's such a treat to be here and to get to know you and your audience at the same time.
Thanks, honey. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.